Welcome back to Zaka Stokvel Insights. Now, as we wrap up our discussion on Siyazana Stokvel, we look ahead to know how they can transition into a formal business or cooperative while continuing to uplift their community. Still with me in studio to share their expert insight is Thabiso Masurubele. Thabiso, before the break, we were just exploring how they can really formalize this and turn this into a business. So what startup guidance would you suggest?
I think it's about gathering information. I think the first thing that we always encourage Stokvels to do is to gather as much information as you can. And you know, the question then becomes, how do we gather this thing, access to resources, access to data and so on. But we do know that there are initiatives where data is available at libraries and so on. So wherever you can gather information around specific topics. And the topic that they then need to look at is around what opportunities exist in the economic development sphere. So, and that's where again you look at government departments. So within government you've got different levels and spheres of government. I mean, it's at local, provincial and national. At all those three levels of government there are economic development units. So you'd find in a municipality there's a local economic development unit. Within that unit, you find their objective is to see what initiatives they can support that enable people to start businesses, to increase employment and so on. So look at what opportunities are available there, if there's grant funding that they can access at that level. You also look at a provincial level. You find provincial economic development agencies, which typically fall under departments of economic development in provinces. By way of example, there's some work we did with some small shop owners in the Free State, for instance, where we were able to work with the Department of Economic Development, provincial, and they were able to assist small groups in starting, spaza shops at the time. In fact, I think they even helped them to get a distribution center where they could get their stock. So with a group like this is to say, in your area, where do you then access these grants at a local level, at a provincial level, and at a national level? You then come back and say, right, these are the opportunities for the grants. There are then requirements for the grants. So, for instance, the Economic Development Department would say, we need a business plan. We need this, we need this. You then come back and say, that's where we then assist them to say, right, you need a business plan for this. What is the business? Keeping it simple. You want to start something very small. This is your target market. This is the amount of money you need. Is your paperwork in order? Yes, we were able to register as, through the CIPC. This is how much it cost us. But one of the things that we've noticed is that a lot of groups, and this we warn against, open up business bank accounts before the business gets off the ground. And what that just does is that it eats away the little that people have. So you find that people are sitting, contributing 500 Rand a month. A big chunk of that is going towards bank charge because business bank accounts typically charge more than your normal accounts. So people are losing money for no reason because you've opened up a business account on the back of having an intention to start a business, but you haven't even started the business. So those are the little things that we encourage people to look at, to say, continue with whatever account you have for now, and then move slowly. Once you get to a place where you are trading now, because once you get that funding won't come into a personal business account, into a personal banking account, it will go into a business account. So once you get to that phase, then you can start looking at the different options for a business account. But it's really to assess and gather as much information as possible from the local, provincial and national economic development departments.
An insightful thought there of them having to really decide on what they would like to do before formalizing their structure into a formal business. But here, what can they register their entity as? Do you think that it would be appropriate for them to register as a business, yes, or as an NPO?
I think it would be appropriate to register as a business. Simply because one of the things that they want to address is the issue of unemployment. And so with unemployment, that, creating jobs is something that's been identified as a priority in South Africa. And so that would put them in a good place in terms of also trying to raise funds. Because once you raise funds, you say, in starting this business, one of our objectives is to create jobs. And so the funding that you give us, you'll be ticking a box. So it's also about, it's a win-win situation. So anyone who gives you money, they give you money for a reason. There must be something in it for them. So government funding, one of the priorities in government is this thing called ERRP, Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Plan. So this would talk to in that particular program. So even if you go to your local economic development office at the municipality, you've got to show them that unemployment is a problem, we all understand. We think we've got a solution, we've got something that can create employment, and it ticks a couple of boxes. One, it will put food on the table for us. Two, it creates employment, and then there's the issue of the multiplier, and that's why it would fall under economic development as a business. And I think one of the things that we also encourage people is not to be ashamed to say we're starting a business to generate a profit. There's nothing evil in saying that we want to make money, because right now some of the complaints that they have is, they don't have money, they're unemployed. So they've got to be very clear and assertive about the fact that they want to generate an income. They want to generate profits, because it's through generating these profits that businesses can grow. And once these businesses grow, they create great opportunities for employment.
Tabi, so when looking at entrepreneurship programs, what would you suggest that Siyazana look into when it comes to brushing up their business skill sets, and also partnerships as well? What can they look out for?
I think it's the issue of accessing information. At least that's one of the things that we do. We give people access to information, because information is power, really, because then that will answer the question of where do they go. If they want entrepreneurship training, they're looking at partnerships and those sorts of things. So also, again, people like to, it's good to be ambitious, to say we want a partnership with a national organization that's got a national footprint. But it's also good to be realistic, to say we are Siyazana, we are in this particular corner of the earth. Where are the low-hanging fruits in terms of partnerships? Local schools, local churches, local businesses. How can we create value for those types of people? Look at where the needs are. So for instance, we know that we've got challenges in our communities. Local businesses might say, we have a shortage of distribution vans. We don't know how to distribute, the things that we sell into the communities. That then presents an opportunity for Siyazana to say, we've got youth here who are unemployed. Perhaps they can become runners and distribute those things for the local business. So it's in creating those partnerships within the local community, whether it's with the local municipality, whether it's local businesses, local churches, local schools, but there's always an opportunity where people can identify a need. And it's about creating value also. It's not, we don't encourage people to go cap in hand and always want grants. You've got to show how you are adding value to the people that you want to partner with, so that they don't take you as just someone who's coming cap in hand and it's a donation that you're looking for. Donations are unsustainable. So you've got to sit and look at how you can create value for the partners that you want to engage. So always make sure that you put yourself in their shoes and say, we can see that, that particular business is struggling with this particular aspect. If we can do that, we're creating value for them. So that even as you engage in the partnership, it's a true partnership. It's not an issue of, these guys have to donate $100 a month and I really don't have to. So the business will then see value in Siyazana, and once the business sees value, that will then translate into resources and commerce, and it's a win-win situation.
So show value and you shall gain profits.
Absolutely.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's discussion. If you're a part of a Stokvel like Siyazana and would like guidance on growing your group or any other topic that we have discussed, feel free to get in touch using our contact details on this screen. Until next time, stay safe. See you soon. This program is brought to you by Thai Vision Media, helping Stokvels and burial societies reach their goals.